conversations with halos is kind of tilted. The foundation is strong because Jehovah built it. You can feel the spirit and positive energy. Questions asked comfortably like you're talking with family. Get ready to settle in. Wait for the show to begin. Invite a couple of friends. It's time for Unhinged.
Introduce to you Get You Home Towing, a family company with the sole purpose to get you home. Whether you need roadside assistance or transport services, we have a flatbed big enough to transport any vehicle to its destination. Our offer to you is our gratitude and great service at a much cheaper price. We are also open to transport through long distances. If you need us, all you have to do is call that number. I'll see you soon.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? I mean, what's really going on? Thank you so much for tuning in. You've tuned in to Unhinged Live. I'm your host, Nikita Tilted Halo Hansford, and I'm sitting alongside my very, very, very good girlfriend, Karen Sims Harrell of Twisted Threads LLC. I want to go ahead and take this opportunity to say, hola, hello, welcome to all of our replay viewers who are going to join us at a later date and time. We appreciate your support. And if you enjoy what you see and hear happening here on the platform, I'm going to ask you to do me a solid. Go ahead and share the broadcast. Tell somebody about it. Because, baby, all I know is this. This is our season to be seen. And we got a lot of good stuff to talk about here at Unhinged Live. So we're going to go ahead and get into a brief synopsis of what's going to happen on tonight's show. Of course, y'all have already seen that wonderful video flyer we send out there weekly. We have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest conversation scheduled on tonight. But even before that guest conversation, we're going to get into a quick superfan shout out. And of course, we'll have a musical break and get into it. It seems to me like these two segments have meshed together, Karen. The views from the petty pew and what's really going on. So what pettiness is really going on is the segment on tonight. Or maybe not. So let me go ahead and take it back to the top of the show, because I can't do my girlfriend wrong and not ask her how she is doing after her rock star weekend. How are you tonight, Karen?
You know, I'm not tired. Can I just say that? I'm not tired. I am energized. I am just in a reflective mode, and you know what happens outside of that. So last weekend, all of the things that happened, amazing, great time with friends, tribe family, supporting, got to meet my number 11 grandbaby, and she is sweet as pie, spoiled already, and I didn't do it. That's all I have to say on that. And then I'm looking forward to even this upcoming week. The husband says it's time to take me to the water. And so, you know, I'm excited about kind of just continuing that reflective moment. And, you know, I kind of get a little bit more, just a little bit quiet when I'm in that reflective mode, because I'm paying attention to all of the things, but work is getting done, right? So super excited after this weekend. Learned some things, right? We were out there as correspondents for NEPA Fashion Week, but we'll get into all of that, right? But it was so super exciting to see all of the things coming together. And we'll, I'm sure, talk about more details. But honey, I'm high and energized, high on love and life, okay? Because some of y'all gonna take one clip and then I won't have a job and the church people gonna kick me out.
Okay, I got on the love earrings with the matching t-shirt on this evening.
Okay.
Love all over.
Yes.
Love.
Hey.
Oh my mind. No, I don't. Really, I don't.
You know I don't mind talking about it live, you know.
The love of the Lord. Don't you start, especially here on air, Karen, all right? I don't want to have to deal with you publicly. I'm not sure if the public is quite ready for you and I offline.
They better get ready. I mean, you know why? Because we're gonna be an entire problem. I said it to Elijah this weekend. Shout out to Elijah Daquine. I ain't got no words, but when we get the accolades for what we do every day, shut it down. Gonna be an entire problem. I said what I said, mark our words. We're gonna be in your backyard as the Lord allows and doing more of what we've been coined and awarded for. So there's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Karen. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So now I got to switch and turn the tables, right? Because you're always checking on me. But we got to check on our strong friends. That's the message for some of y'all. So Tilty, how you doing?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked about your strong friend, because I have no problem sharing publicly what I be going through from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So today was actually the 5th year since my mother left this side of heaven. And I woke up this morning and said, well, I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace to feel what I need to feel, to shed the tear that I might want to shed, to just take my time going back down memory lane, sharing the moments that I spent with my mother before she left me, because that's how I feel. She left me. And right now it's kind of like, wow, I just pushed through an amazing weekend where, like you said, Karen, we've been acknowledged for doing what we do every day, and it's finna be the whole entire turn up. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm still that little girl that wants to pick the phone and say, hey, yo, ma, look at what happened next, yo.
That part, come on.
So I got to do that today in my alone time. And of course, you already know how my faith takes me on a journey. And again, my morning turned to laughing. And again, I found myself laughing at some of my own personal shenanigans. And the things that you all so lovingly allow me to get away with, because child, I be out my mind sometimes with some of these business risks that I tend to take. But I'm so grateful that you all know that I operate with a level of integrity that not only keeps me safe, but keeps you all safe as well. So thank y'all for joining the ride. Thank y'all for, grabbing your surfboard and your passports weekly and taking this ride on the Joy Tsunami. Because the Joy Tsunami, it really does encompass all things pertaining to life. Life is very, very, very colorful and very, very fluid, much like a wave, a tsunami.
Yes.
You are not careful. One of my little favorite videos is a TikTok video. Her name is Jessica. You can't swim. Listen, the waves almost took Jessica out, right? But they sent some little lifeguards in there to help Jessica. See, listen, y'all, I'm going somewhere with this. It's a Joy Tsunami.
Yes.
We saw Jessica in danger and had a dude on the sideline. You can't swim. You're in danger. You're gonna die. Listen, all of this stuff happens in life. But ultimately, someone was sent to Jessica's rescue. So here we are, a Joy Tsunami, sent to rescue you by giving you some information that you might absolutely want and need to hear to help you, hey, look, make 2025 your best year. So listen, I know we got a guest in the green room, and I don't want to keep yapping like a chihuahua. So I want to go ahead and get into this week's super fan shout out. Hey, Miss Shelby, how you doing, Queen? All right, can I get that drum roll, Karen?
Absolutely, we getting right to it. Listen, amen. We getting the drum roll. I'm pressing everything but the drum roll.
Oh, but look, you got all of the introduction super fan shout out for tonight. Listen. I don't know if you all have been perusing our individual personal platforms, especially on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, right? But after we had this wonderful celebratory weekend where the women of the tribe were able to get together, one of us wasn't amongst us amongst some runways on Saturday. So I want to go ahead and give a super fan shout out to the tribe's very own Yolanda Lucas. Yes, the tribe's most favorite influencer. Yes. Super fan shout out this week goes to our girlfriend, Yolanda Lucas. Yolanda Lifestyle on TikTok, y'all. Girlfriend is over there on TikTok doing big things. You want some clothes? She got a TikTok shop. You want all new TikTok gadgets? Go on over there and purchase something from her TikTok shop. She is doing it, y'all. Not only is she growing her TikTok shop, but she is actually giving y'all the game of life from her perspective. And right now, our sister is recovering from plantar fasciitis surgery. We walked alongside her and even put her in some gold sneakers at Interstar during the ceremony, so that she could still participate and be experiencing as little pain as possible. Listen, she over there talking to y'all about her experiences, giving you details from what she's learning along the journey, live, y'all. And I do mean live. So again, Yolanda, we love you here at Unhinged Live. You already know you are tribe down. Ain't nothing you could do to get rid of us. And just know that you are absolutely amazing. And by his stripes, sister girl, you are already healed. As we sat around you on Sunday, I got to hear you say it's just part of the healing process. That's right, sis. This is only another process of healing that God is taking you through, so that you can help millions along the way. So we love you. We love your son. We love your grandson that you're gently introducing us to on your platform. You just keep going. You keep glowing and letting them fingers do the walking. And I'll stop at that because I want to put all your biz naive out in the streets. Super fine shout out goes to Yolanda Lucas on this week. You got any words for our dear tribe mate?
We love you. I was so glad that I got the opportunity to pull up on you. And so we had an amazing time of fellowship. We got Amish potato salad over here. I made y'all laugh. And, I just, I counted joy. And I know those of us who have those sister friendships, I mean, maybe y'all do it, maybe y'all don't, but it is a super great way to be empowered yourself. And that is, we had some moments to give our time and our space to a well-deserving sister friend. And I know that it went a long way. I'm energized. And I know that's why I'm not tired, Tilted. That's why I can say that, because when you spend time with good people, even at your tiredest, it's like, okay, let me take 5 minutes to breathe. But that rejuvenation of just all of that positive energy, I bought it all, packed it up, and brought it all the way down here with me to North Carolina. So, they're going to either survive or not. I'm not sure, but they're going to get another wave of tsunami right down here, because what you're not going to do is squash the joy. So we love you, Yolanda, and so well deserving. We're glad, and we all said it, we are glad that you took a moment and time to take care of yourself. We know it had to be bad for you to stop, but this is part of that testament that you're talking about, Tilted, that as women, as mothers, as friends, as sisters, we usually push all of our needs, all the way to the end of the line. And sometimes it becomes a too late situation. So we always applaud ourselves and those around us for taking care of themselves so that they can take better care of their families, right? Put your own mask on first. All right now.
Put your own mask on first.
That's
so look,
it.
let me take a sip of this here good H2O, this high quality H2O.
Got folks on the doorbell, so I know we gotta get it right.
Leaning on it. Heavy. Listen, it's okay, because we've been talking. Like I ain't just see you day before yesterday or something. But check it out. Check it out. I am uber excited to bring to the platform tonight's guest. Listen. When you're talking about somebody that is bad to the bone, and I mean not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good, listen, to quote Prophet LL Cool J, listen, that's who this woman is. I have had the opportunity to watch her work quietly yet mightily in the background, and have her hand in so many different aspects of the different productions I've enjoyed over the last 3 to 4 years. She has the warmth of an angel, and baby, a smile that will absolutely light up the room. She carries with her everywhere she goes a heart for humanity. And y'all already know, when I see people like that, I really want to have the conversation. So let's bring her into the studio, Karen. I want to go ahead and introduce to some and reintroduce to others tonight's guest, the lovely Michelle Zattoni of the MZ Foundation. How are you tonight, girl?
I am doing well, man. Thank you for that great introduction. I do tend to stay behind the scenes of late. But I really
Yes.
appreciate you having me on the show, and it's really good to be on here and be able to talk different matters. And I'm really excited to see what's up.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. You are what's really going on, Michelle. Whether you want to grasp the reins of that just yet or not, you truly are. And yes, you tend to work quiet, but your quiet presence speaks volumes.
Thank you.
As I've watched you support so many of the greats in our circles, there is a reason why you stand everywhere you're standing.
Mm.
So, and I'm excited and privileged to have the opportunity to introduce you to the tribe audience. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I know before the
Okay.
show, I kind of you up and I let you know that my primary objective is to find out how it started in comparison to how it's going. And of course, you
Mm.
share at your will, because we transparent over here, because what we
Yes.
do understand is that we are overcomers by sharing our testimonies. So Michelle, I do have to ask you, if you don't mind, can you please share a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up? Talk to us about your beginnings.
Oh, where did that all start? I thought you were talking about like the festival or foundation. Okay,
Oh, we're
so
gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
but you know what? Transparency is actually something that's new to me. So if I struggle with it a little bit, I have been getting more open about some of the things. So if I struggle, just give me a second, but I'll be right back. Okay. um, I actually grew up in Easton, Pennsylvania. I am Irish, Dutch, and Black. I was adopted by an Irish, Italian, and Polish family back in 1980. So it wasn't really a good thing to have mixed kids and all that at that time. My birth mother was 15. So I was with my family since I was 3 days old. Um, I left the Allentown Easton area back in 2002 because when I was younger, I got into a lot of trouble, and I was just kind of like what they label as a bad kid. Later on, discovering I have ADHD, and it kind of kept me like a little overactive in school. Um, but when I went to Atlanta, I developed my career, and I had a great time there. I met my ex-husband. It was definitely an invigorating and life-changing experience. I did real estate, construction, and engineering, project management. I just landed opportunities and did the work, and it was really cool to grow in that way. Especially when I was home, I was basically a felon, so I really couldn't progress, in the state of Pennsylvania at that time. But later on, my family, they started getting older. My sister was sick. My oldest sister, she fell sick, and then my dad and mom, they're getting up in age. I said, okay, I'm divorced. I have, I can transition, and I came back to the Lehigh Valley, and that's kind of the start of everything that you see me doing now. Was the impact that moving back to the Lehigh Valley had on me.
Mm, mm. So I'm enjoying the beginning parts of your journey that you've shared, and now you've landed in the Lehigh Valley. I want to ask you to go back to that piece of what you just mentioned. You mentioned the impact that it
Yes.
had on you. So what was it after you landed here that made you say, hey, let's get it started?
Yeah.
What I want
Man,
to know.
it's like so hard. I want to bullet point it so bad, but I know you're gonna keep asking questions. So I'm just gonna tell the whole story. I mean, truth be told, when I went to Atlanta, it was an open opportunity. Nobody was really concerned about my criminal past. I was able to get my real estate license. I was working for clean water projects in Atlanta. I was working with the city, the federal government, the EPA, all of that. I come back to home, and I applied for like, jobs in different fields and everything. And that background kept coming up. I said, okay, so maybe I got to get a degree or something, right? Maybe that'll help them rid me of this F that they put on my chest at 19 years old. That's what I call it. My F on my chest is what I call it. But when I went back to college as an adult, I saw so much disparity, like just there wasn't really any change. I remember being a kid and, they didn't have individualized plans at that time. But even now with these plans, it was kids still weren't able to, write a full paragraph. These are 20-year-old kids. I mean, they're still kids to us because we're older, right? But they're growing adults. They should be able to write a paragraph. They should be able to know how to dress for a job interview, these types of things. So I was over at Northampton Community College, and I always tell this story. A girl came into the student life office and she had this like mini skirt on with the sheer covering over it. And she's like, "Are y'all hiring?" And for some odd reason, it was just like, I can't stand this crap anymore, and it all boiled up like, because these people actually have an opportunity to be great, but nobody's giving it to them. You're giving them the education without giving them the life skills. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I had to, unfortunately, have a run-in with the law to understand what I needed to do for me. And I wanted to prevent that. So I started doing actually a masquerade fashion show. That's how this all got started. I know I told you previously I wasn't into fashion, but this was a professional wear. This was a professional attire fashion show. So it wasn't like Alagis and cerise, which I love, but I'm just not girly. So, we did this fashion show with the kids, and that's actually how I met Cerie Jackson Robinson with Lehigh Valley Fashion Week. So that's where it literally all started with Northampton Community College and that interaction, and just realizing that nothing in it, well, I'm saying nothing, but a lot of things in education hadn't changed. And so it started off there. And then I started working for Faces International, which is an all-Black marketing firm in Lehigh Valley. And they taught me a lot about professional development and myself, the dynamics of the Lehigh Valley. They were hosting all these different types of events for minorities to network and really, really kind of expand. And I was on the Easton Arts School Board too, because I was really trying to change education in like little minor ways, just doing my part. But then my sister called me in 2017 and told me she was dying. Now, that's the same sister that taught me cultural diversity, the same sister who taught me about Patalio's, Buju Banton, all these cultural things into this, Caucasian upbringing I was having. And nothing against my parents, and they just didn't know, right? But she was out in the world and she was bringing it back to me, and it made me, more diversified myself. So when she got really sick, I moved out to, her area where she lived, about 4 hours from the valley. So I was still toggling everything in the valley, Faces, a private consulting business, the school board, all that kind of stuff, and taking care of her at the same time. So when she died, it was like, I got to do the festival, man, because me and her had discussed it, doing like kind of a cultural festival for everyone, and really kind of throwing like this block party where we celebrate everyone and we have all these different foods and everything. So she died in April of 2018, and I did the festival for 2 days, September 14th and 15th in 2018. I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. But that's so from NCC to the festival, and then there's like a whole section till now, but that's how it graduates into different things. So it literally started with trying to help kids learn how to dress into, okay, I'm going to turn my pain and what I learned from my sister into a passion and give that opportunity for other people to learn within the community. And then it just sparked off into people saying, "Michelle, let's do it again." Okay, do it again, and now we're in year 6. We are opening up a 3rd location in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. That's our 2nd PA location. And we have another location in Nigeria that we started in 2023. Yeah,
Zip codes
that's
and area
exciting.
codes. Zip codes and area codes. Zip codes. And area codes.
I'm all about the global, man. Like I love my hometown. I love like Lehigh Valley, but I'm definitely about global impact and being able to bring that back home, just like my sister did for me. So I might travel to Liberia, and I travel to Nigeria and all these places, but all that is in pursuit of connecting students there with students here. So it's important for me. Yeah, it's important for me to think from a global perspective, for sure.
Oh, but of course, and we too lend to a global perspective here at Unhinged Live.
Yes.
So we are both absolutely here for it.
Yeah.
So the only limits that we have are the ones that we place on ourselves. And with technology being available to every one of us the way it is now, information is at our fingertips, and it's nothing that we can't learn how to do. All we have to do is take the time to apply ourselves. Karen, you want to get in on this Q&A? Because I will rap all night.
Listen.
Yeah, that was just like, I don't even know where to go in on the story, so I'm just kind of telling you bits.
No, we appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate it. And one of the things is, as I mentioned, most of our conversations, offline, online, organic in nature, getting to know folks, because we know that something about your story will spark interest and creativity in somebody else, right? They're going to do it their own way, Michelle. They've got somebody in their life that, like your sister, has impacted even the direction of how they see the world. And I love, as you were mentioning, just about the memory of your sister and how, your family got together, says who coming, and you made that decision. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you have grown the initiatives that you had? Because it might seem like a small snippet of something, but to establish things with a global connection actually takes a lot. And so I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you kind of went through it, and what thing are you most proud of to date in reference to the work that you've been a part of?
Oh man, why you have to hit me with that question or that last one? Anyway, love you back, Shelby, and hey, Elijah. I saw that on the comments there. Shelby actually played a major role in the beginning stages of the festival as a super supporter. You guys know Shelby and who she is as a person.
Yes.
She taught me a lot of lessons. Gave me some sound advice, and I've been sticking to what she told me, and I really have to just say thank you to her for that. I know she's watching. A beautiful person, man.
Yes.
But actually, that leads into the answer to the question. How, right?
Yes.
The power of community and connections. People ask me all the time, "Oh, Michelle, you must know so much." I think there's a saying where it's like, a wise man knows he knows nothing at all. I don't know anything. I don't know how to start a film. I don't know how to podcast. I don't have a degree in psychology to be able to do trauma and healing classes. I don't know finance on a level where I'm like Bill Gates, or Warren Buffett, or I don't know any of that stuff. I know top level stuff in order to survive. I know a little bit of yoga. I have logistical skills. I've taken my strengths and I've balled them up into literally the power of connection. Because every one of these people that we run into every day have a talent. So when you see that talent, and that's really where the cultural exchange program came from, because the festival brought all those people together. I get Instagram from Nigeria message, and I'm like, oh, it's a scam, man. I don't know. Not Nigeria, but just like, how is somebody from 5,000 miles away seeing my post about the festival?
Right.
What is this about? So we start talking. He sees I'm in education. He's like, is there any way you can come run some classes and, come, talk to my students? And I said, you know what? My sister just passed. I did this crazy thing. I might as well just, I don't know if you ever had that mortality check where you just get to the point where you're like, I only have one life. Like, she died at 51. My brother died at 41. I was like 39, 30 at the time, 39. And I'm like, I'm just going to go. So I went to Nigeria and I did development, and I called, guess who? Miss Jacinth Headlam. I hit her up and I said, hey, you got the love after. This is before InnaStar. I am behind the scenes a lot now. I'm thinking about this is before InnaStar. Me and her had she had divulged into the love after what she's promoting now with her book, but it was a nonprofit at first. So I told her, I said, well, so you're doing self-esteem, so you come with me and be my back leg. I'll start it off, and and then so she's just like, okay. So it was just crazy the way it connected like that. And then that's what started the cultural exchange program. But in the course of the festival, that has actually been expanding the cultural exchange program, if that makes any sense, because the vendors and the organizations and the people that I work with the festival know about the programming. They see me doing it online, you know, going to different places, and then they start inviting me to their countries and connecting me with people there. So that's how all those things get done, is the power of connection, and honestly seeing the talent in other people, guiding them if they need it, and trusting that they can get it done, and having the balls to cut people when they don't get it done, unfortunately. Like, I gotta be honest. I've cut a couple people, and that's not fun. But, you know, I try to work with nonprofits as a not-for-profit, but I think it's important that we give them opportunities. You know, they're already working hard enough. You know, it's nice for them to have someone to step in and say, hey, I got this lined up. The contract's done. The money's done. You know, everything's done. You just come do the work, promote yourself. I'll promote myself. We'll impact some lives, and we'll keep it pushing.
I love that.
It's fun. I can't lie. I won't lie. Just to say something real fast, I was so used to working in all male dominated industries. And this trip to Liberia with Dr. Sarita Johnson, it was Andreen Noel, and Jacinth Headlam. And I've never had that, like, outside of my sisters, I've never had like that interaction with women, you know, so close, like all in one space, traveling together for countless days. And you're like the leader of the leaders. Oh, it was so weird because, like, I can't lead you on. You're a leader. It was the strangest. And then I'm realizing that there really are significant differences with my experience in working with men versus working with women. There were a ton more questions. There was a ton more involvement too. Like, they were getting involved in parts. And I was like, dude, I was almost like, mind your business, but I just wasn't used to it. Like, there were parts where I'm like, I need you to play your role. And it was because I'm not used to it. So it was really, I don't want to say that was my proudest moment, but I was proud of, like, all of us for being really able to come together, accomplish that goal. We hadn't really worked together in the same space. We traveled 4,000 something miles to a third world country, killed it, you know, and came home. So I think out of the most recent things I've done, I'm most proud of that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And you listen, I'm sure y'all know we are a huge fan of women coming together.
You got
sharing
to.
and connecting vision. And I absolutely relate to you, Michelle, because I promise you,
More than you know.
last week, here now. Last week, I was saying to a friend of mine in conversations, like, y'all don't understand how grateful I am for the experiences we've been able to facilitate through the platform. Because I'm like, yo, y'all don't even understand. I don't have no degree. I got like stacks upon stacks upon stacks of certifications to make sure I stay relevant. But good mugga, I'm leading PhDs and master's degrees. And I ain't nothing but, the concrete rose born out of Patterson, New Jersey. But I'm grateful again, because what I've observed with the crew that went on over there to Liberia and crushed it with you, Michelle, is it's a whole lot of vision.
Yeah, for sure.
In the group of women.
Yeah.
With your
Amazing.
travels. And there's a whole lot of vision amongst the women here at Unhinged. And it is and girl, again, I can relate. It is a male-dominated industry over here in the podcasting world as well. And, being a person much like yourself who didn't necessarily have a whole lot of a female interaction. Most of my closest friends, most of my life was them dudes that, helped me keep my game tight and out of trouble and learn me how to protect myself. And then you want to send somebody soft and pink over here. I could be cute. I do that. I gussy up real nice. But there's still that, mind your business aspect to me.
Yeah,
and I'm grateful. Yeah, that mind your business aspect. I'm grateful that, I'm surrounded by women who have helped me learn to let it go and let them flow. Because there's absolutely a reason why they've been placed around me. The tapestry we're able to create with all of our creative gifts together, oh, it's bigger than anything that my mind could have ever wrapped itself around if I sat here and tried to do this all by myself. So thank you for sharing that. Because maybe, just maybe, because Karen tapped into it. You don't know, Karen, she's special. She be starting stuff with some of the things she says, Michelle. It's a whole Holy Ghost setup over here when she says things. Somebody needs to hear that it's okay for you to have some good girlfriends to build community with.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is. It really is. What were you going to say, Michelle?
No, I was gonna say I've always encouraged women in a lot of ways. I know my work life is more male dominated, but I've always been around like pockets. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, you know, you're around for a couple of hours, or you go to an event together, or something like that. Or if I did travel, it was always with like close friends, and most of my close friends are like me. You know, we're not really like makeup and hair and all that. So I was even telling Andreen, like, and I mean, I hope she probably gonna laugh if she watch it, but I told her, I said that trip brought me closer to God. A lot of it was because Dr. Sarita Johnson plays gospel music every morning on blast, and at first I was like, "Can you turn that down?" Because I'm not used to it. You know, I listen to like jazz in the morning. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, so, but the ultimate part that actually got me closer to God was me praying for patience. And obtaining that patience during the course of time that I was there, because God did grant me patience during that trip, because I was lacking it, honestly, and I hadn't tapped into parts of God that I should have. So it was really invigorating to be around not only other women in such close circle and in such a like a unique way, but to have the opportunity to honestly get closer to God in the midst of that mission. That was not something I anticipated, and it wasn't an outcome on paper, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. So are you preparing anything in specific right now for the International Cultural Festival and Exchange?
Yes, we have. Drum roll. We have the International Cultural Festival, 2 of them. So if you're in the Poconos area, Sunday, September 14th, we have at Dansbury Park. And then we have September 14th, Saturday, at Cedar Beach in Allentown. I'm really excited about both of them, but Allentown is my dream. When I first started the festival, I had the idea to do 7 corners of the world at Cedar Beach, and that's actually happening this year. We have 2 separate stages. We have a couple of different acts coming in that are outside of our norm. So I'm really excited. We're doing fitness and yoga and free massages, and it's going to be really cool. And then for the cultural exchange program, I'm still working out logistics for the after school program and how to provide program to what they call the speed school students. When we were in Liberia, we were, the ladies were working with a lot of students that had never been to school. So they put them in what they call speed school. So you could be 17, but never have been in school. So you go to speed school. So it's all these different age ranges, but I really, our focus is to work with them in the summer for 5 weeks. We'll be doing a theater programming with Miss Juanita Gray. So that's exciting. That's a part of my job I love, is to be able to take somebody like her and say, "Hey, you can teach, man. Get over here. Let me show you." Because she's already teaching all the time. Yeah, she's already teaching all the time. So it's like, why not just teach some kids? And then her husband's Liberian. I think it's cool that she gets to teach Liberian kids. So that's going on this summer, and then we'll have after school programming over at Casa Guadalupe, all for fall and spring. So yes, that's about it. And then I am working on getting Japan lined up. I did a lot in Africa. I did Kenya, Liberia, Nigeria already. So now I'm trying to work on getting Asia and South America. So I'm working on Guyana as well.
All right. So listen, I just got this offbeat question that popped in my head.
Okay.
Your passport, because it's a whole joy tsunami. You never know which way we're gonna go.
No worries.
You're a globetrotter, clearly.
Sometimes.
Can you share with me your personal thoughts on this real ID thing that's happening here in the United States?
You mean as far as the requirement of the real ID?
Yes. Because from what I'm understanding, there are going to be certain limitations on which mode of travel you'd be able to take to travel domestically. So I guess this is basically a two-parter. Do you think it'll have any a major impact as far as domestic and international travel eventually?
What to have? Are you saying like to have the
That real
real
ID,
ID
yeah,
versus not
that real
having it?
ID.
Okay. Well, yeah. Obviously, it's going to impact it because you have all these people who have either not had the chance to get the real ID, or maybe don't have the proper paperwork to get it, and they're basically stuck at being able to travel domestically. Especially if you start putting it on trains and like grounded types of transportation. Um, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm a firm believer in just kind of like resolving issues. So as soon as I even heard about real ID, I went and got my passport. I just stay up with it, and I'm not discounting anybody who doesn't want to get their passport. If you don't want to get your passport, that's understandable, but also understand the consequences of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even my mom had to get the real ID. She's 81 years old. Like I'm pretty sure it was not fun for her. I'm pretty sure she didn't enjoy the experience, and I think she was looking for some paper for like 3 weeks. Because who the heck has her birth certificate from 1943? But I do think it's going to make some impact, but I honestly think that people now, it's been advertised and people need to take the initiative to make sure that they're taken care of.
Right. Well,
I don't like a lot of the changes, if you really want to get specific, within the passport structures, because now with this tariffs and all these things, the new administration is putting on, that does impact a lot when it comes to travel and shipping things and visas and all that. So, the visa that was once $150 is now $300, and you might not get it versus getting it before. Or situations like we were in Cayman Islands for the Innistar Awards, and someone was flying in and they had a felony. Well, they deported that person because, we're deporting felons and now they're deporting felons,
wow.
So it's all of that. It just in general is really impacting us in a lot of negative ways. And I think people really need to just get prepared for the worst. Not to be grim.
No. As you heard, that was a spirit-led question, a legitimate download, and I was led to ask you. You said something that many may not be aware of. There was someone who traveled somewhere with proper documentation, but when they landed in an over-tariff place, so to speak, they were deported. It's wow. Yeah.
Didn't even get off, like they didn't even get out of the airport. It was like, okay, we heard you have a felony, which is true that, they were advertised. Somebody had blogged about it or whatever. And it's one of those things where, it kind of trickled into the ministry, and then the ministry was like, all right, we can't let you in. So those are the kind of things that I anticipate more being problematic than the real ID, because you have people who have a charge from 20, 30, whatever many years ago. And I'm not a reentry at all. Please don't mistake me for that. But they have zero ability to travel to different places because of what's going on administratively here.
Wow.
So it limits. Yeah. Or even other situations as a festival. I've tried to bring in artists this year, and it's astronomical compared to last year because of things that are happening politically here. Not to spin off to a whole nother thing, but I got an email today that one of my solid funders for the last 6 years is no longer doing the same type of grants because it's about traditional arts and preserving culture. So as of 2026, I lose probably about 17% of my funding.
Wow.
Well,
since we went there, Michelle,
I knew she was gonna do it.
I was just waiting. I was just
stick right on it.
I knew she was waiting. I said, let me spin it for
her. One of the things that I think is super important, as you're saying, like 17%. So if you know the numbers, right? I always say what gets measured gets done, right? And so you've been doing work with a budget this entire time. And this is sort of a little bit of the pre-conversation, but we've been talking about that here with our tribe family about how we can be creative with funding. How do we know and understand the assignment, right?
Mhm.
Minus their dollars means more of our dollars. And so I'm wondering, what are some of the thoughts? Not that anything needs to be concrete, but what are some of the thoughts that you're having about how you can encourage some more of those private funders, private supporters? I don't think many folks think of them as philanthropists. I am one. It's not a title that I gave myself, it's just what I do. But
Right.
philanthropy coming in so many different ways. What are some of the thoughts that you're thinking, like, okay, lose that. Let's take our breathe moment and figure out how to set it up. Thank you. Y'all see notes coming through the door. God bless husband. Awesome. And yeah, just what thoughts are you thinking about how we can become more creative?
Well, I mean, and this is something I review with my partners. It's something you prepare for when you're staying up with politics, right? So you see what's about to happen, and as a business owner, or whatever your business is, you prepare for these things. Um, One thing I've been really trying to do is, there's so many different components to all the things that are involved when it comes to the festival in the cultural exchange program, because it's not, even though it's cultural in the name. Everything that you can think of is included under there, right? So when we're dealing with the educational programming, we're teaching arts. Well, arts is very much impacting mental health in a positive way. And then there are some arts like dance who are mental and physical. So there's different things within the festival where I can take those components and approach from a different perspective and say, okay, would you like to sponsor the fitness portion, or, the mental health, or, those types of things. So that's really what I would suggest for people to do, is try to like spin that off to your normal funders. But then the private funders, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I got lucky or what, but I do have some people who are just like really believe in what I do, and they'll just, kind of help out when they can. But just to speak to them is, when you see people doing the work, that's who you want to focus on. There's a lot of people asking for money, but what are the real results? Because I too am a philanthropist in a lot of ways. I mean, most of my funding from the beginning started with me. I funded the entire International Cultural Festival for 2 years, and not the entire thing for the first two, but most of it, and then the entire cultural exchange program for the first four. So, and I do other things with organizations and all that. But the reason why you see me at Fashion Week, right? The reason why you see me at InnaStar, the reason why you see me behind the scenes and all these things is because that is my philanthropy. So maybe you can't give back money, right? Or maybe you can give a couple dollars. Maybe you can say, here's $1,000, and then but you can also give back in many ways. You can do production, you can help out with staging, setup, cleanup. There's a lot of different ways that even if you don't have funding, you can still engage in philanthropy by your time and effort, and even just your thoughts. Sometimes, like my volunteers, my board members, my committees, those are key players in me being successful in any way, shape, or form. They're doing their own version of philanthropy by giving me meeting time, connections. Oh, I'll reach out to so-and-so. Hey, I'll send your sponsorship package over here. Let me share the flyer. As much as you said, we think philanthropy is like this big, maybe you got to give $20,000. No, you don't, man. Like I could literally just use, designers. Hey, Shelby's done fashion at the festival. Those are those little things that you can help your local organizations, and whether it's an event like Alaji's and mine, or Cerise, or even Jacinth, you can help out in many, many ways that are outside of funding. Yeah, because those are actually more valuable. And I don't mean it like that, but I toss money at a lot of projects, but at the same time, the ones that I really care about, I drive 3.5 hours for on a Saturday and run the front desk like I did on Saturday, because I care about that, but like ones that, like, not that I don't care, but the impact is a little bit less and the mission's not really aligned with what I do. Particularly, I'll more so cut the check to that and just hope, and just keep doing that. But that time it's invaluable. You're always going to need bodies, man.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's a, I appreciate you expanding on that, because again, a lot of us think that title is only for the folks that, show up at the highest levels, and philanthropy is about relationship building. It's about those connections. So thank you for sharing that. All right,
Thank
Tilty.
you for asking. No, this has
Oh,
been pretty good. Yeah, it's always a lot when you're thinking about not for profit and not profit work, but we love it,
yeah.
Can't help ourselves.
And I am here for it. In more familiar terms, people often hear time is money, and my money is my time. So when you do extend yourself that way, you have no idea how it impacts others. And like I said,
Right.
you was finna say something that was gonna help somebody with the words that were coming out of your mouth. So listen, our wonderful guest tonight, Michelle Zattoni, just gave y'all the sauce, y'all. She gave y'all the sauce. She really did.
And
It
she,
doesn't take millions, it doesn't take thousands, it doesn't take hundreds to get a thing started. And the way I've experienced is this: just show up.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
show up in the room, and when someone asks you your name and asks you to tell them who you are, just do that. And I promise you, that's one of the best ways to open a door to begin your philanthropy journey, to your creative journey, your modeling journey, your author journey, so on and so forth. And I'm so passionate in my response to that information, Michelle, because that is my own lived experience. I would not be sitting here today if I hadn't answered the question and was ready for it. Listen,
Right.
you ready? You thought about radio? Yeah, it's on my vision board. You got a radio moniker, Tilted Halo, and that's how it started.
What? That's
That's
crazy.
how it started.
stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. That is
Stay
I
our
ready.
love it.
These
coin
were
motto here.
these were things that I had written in a journal years
Wow.
ago, even down to the Tilted Halo. It was cute. It was interesting. I wrote it down, and with the thought that I'm going to need that for something one day.
Mm-hmm. That's
And it
interesting
just,
though.
when he asked for an answer, I had an answer. It wasn't necessarily that I was like, did I really want my radio moniker to be Tilted Halo? Did the business need to be branded Tilted? Did I want that? No, but God gave it to me before I even knew I would walk through
Mm.
the doors that would be open for me to this day. So Michelle, I don't know if you know it, but you dropped mad boulders in what you shared on this evening. Very,
Well, that's
very,
good to know.
very impactful, because
Thank
someone
you.
needs to hear from someone like you. Another person who didn't necessarily always fit in, now blazing your own trail, not only here in the Lehigh Valley and in the United States, but across the big river. So before we transition the show, Michelle, I want to give you the opportunity to share with our viewers and our listeners how they can connect with you. Are you on social media platforms? How can they connect?
Yeah, my businesses are. I mean, I do have a personal Facebook for now, but you can go to the International Cultural Festival on Facebook. The program's kind of more on the, I don't want to say private note, but if you want to reach out to me for programming opportunities, whether you're someone who wants to develop, and learn how to develop programs and teach, or someone who's already doing it or is interested in volunteering, my website is mzfound.org. And we're also on Instagram on the International Cultural Festival and then Zattoni Foundation. So
I
yeah,
know
I'm
that.
findable. It's all public. Like all you gotta do is like Michelle Zattoni. I hate that. I tried to get it sweet too, and it was like, dang, I can't even like get my information sweet because it's all tied to like news articles and everything. So I'm waiting for the Google search to just get down to like somebody else. I'm actually, as much as I'm behind the scenes right now, I'm actually in the process of taking a further step back, mainly because the whole mission, like I told you from the beginning, is to take the people who are doing the work and really enjoy doing it and give them those opportunities. So as I'm passing on the torches, like Mike is going to be taking over Downtown Festival with Movement Moves Media. Awesome dude, man. If you ever need marketing or media, I definitely suggest to go to him if you don't have someone already. Um, And then in Poconos, we have SIFTI Association. Her name is Teeks. She's out of East Stroudsburg, and Raga, as you know him, Raga, the DJ. So, yeah. So for me, I'll be kind of leading more so from behind and just kind of taking pleasure in seeing everybody else do what I've already done. I hate to say it that way, but it is cool to watch them learn all these different things and to realize how much knowledge I have, and also on the back end, learn a lot from them, man. I've been learning a lot from my younger partners. But it is honestly my time to pass the torch on those particular projects. And I'll actually be moving into the author space. So I'm working with Jacinth on my book, which is going to be a hybrid book. So we're going to do poetry with short stories. So when you read it, you'll read the poem, and then there will be a short story behind it explaining where the poem came from. And I'm excited about that. And I'm also doing like voiceover work. So yeah.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
excited.
Yes, ma'am. We are doing all of the things. All of the things.
I'm
Thank you
begging
so
for money
much.
now.
Yes, that's it. You gotta soul before the money can
Yeah.
roll.
I need
Look, you
profit
gotta soul
projects.
before the money can roll. Huh?
I need profit projects at this point. I'm like, I'm
Girl.
45, so I'm like, oh wait, I'm retiring like soon. Like, like wait, I can't be giving all this money away all the time. And DEI funding is crap. So I'm like, okay, let me just move a little bit more into profits and be able to filter that back into the work. And then, everybody's good, But it was really a good time having today with you guys. I really appreciate your time. And, it was a crazy thing how we ran into each other, Nikita. It really was, because, and we didn't talk about it on this particular show. And I'm kind of glad. I didn't really feel like getting emotional. But we were discussing the impact of domestic violence and abuse in our lives. And that was very touching to me, because it's something I'm learning to be transparent about. And you were absolutely transparent about it. You gave me a hug like out of nowhere after I shared my story with you. And as I told you, I'm not used to those kind of like emotional things. So it was very touching. So I always remember that about you, just how you opened up your heart and your mind, and and reached out to me to to console me about things that were going on in my life at that time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
No, thank you for being open to me. Though you've seen me on the scene, hopping around, popping in and through, I'm a stranger,
Yeah.
So I'm glad, right? I'm a whole stranger, real talk,
Yeah.
So I am so grateful that, the ability to love beyond myself that God has gifted me with. I'm grateful that you were able to identify that and receive a hug, because hugs is part of my ministry. So if I am led to wrap my arms around you, understand that there is a strength and an energy exchange happening. I may not always have the words to encourage you, but all I know is this: during some of my darkest days, all I ever really needed was a hug to keep going. So you keep going, you keep sowing it, and you keep growing, Michelle, because I'm so grateful that I even get the opportunity to say to you right now that I look forward to having you back here on the platform after you publish your book.
Yes.
I not only do I want to read all about it, I want to make sure that our audience does too, and that they hear all about it, especially your development process.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah.
We've been there. We
Yes.
we published as well, so we understand the process.
Yeah.
And you're more than welcome to stay and sit in with us as we get into the rest of the show. We're getting ready to transition on out into a little bit of a musical brizzy break.
I'm gonna say it's music time, right?
Oh yeah, a little shoulder shaking going. It's a little time for a little shoulder shaking. Hold up, it's a little rainy in the Lehigh Valley area today, so I'm a little.
That's like your best shoulder shake though. Like,
no, I'm warm. This is my warm up. This is my
okay, because I'm like that.
So we don't break nothing, Michelle.
I'm close.
We're queenagers, so we gotta make sure that we appropriately stretch before we start letting loose, so that we don't have to see our medical professionals in the morning. That's
I'm for it though.
That's
I'm
how
for it. I just started learning like yoga, and I teach a little bit of it now. So yeah, stretching is key. Because at 43, I woke up and I was like, I'm tight or something. What's this?
Wait
what is this?
50, girl. Just wait. It gets fun.
No, you're not gonna. We're having a good time here, and we're gonna leave it. Let's just slide into the music, keep the rhythm going, the positivity.
Let's do that. Okay, DJ Cash,
Listen.
girl.
So this is, y'all
Thanks,
know this
guys.
is my fun. Thank you. This is my
Bye.
fun part right here. We get the opportunity. Y'all know I love my DJ hat that I put on, and it can only be one musical selection that we bring in this evening, because as always we get the opportunity to support those that are around us, and just like that, we've got our chance to, it might be a little bit of a reminiscent moment, right? I'm not going to say back in the day, but right now we are bringing to the stage our video and music selection from none other than Elijah Daquan and Fashion Killers. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah, showed up, big ride. Showing up, New York, stand up, stand. Certified fashion killer, fashion killer. It's 7 p.m. Friday, my natural glorilla. Feel bossed up when I wake up. No heartbreak, just to make up. I'm in my duffel, time to get this cake up. Like a type of foundation can't make us. Stay on your own path, it's a one-way. Only U-turns get made on the runway. No talking fly unless the plane's on runways. I got big dreams of chasing, never runway. If you got big dreams, chasing, never run away. Hey, back it up, back it up. Slide through, they start acting up. Roll, get your heart out, snack it up. Get your money, stack it up. Stack it up. Slow motion versus no motion. You still not moving fast enough. Certified fashion killer. It's 7 p.m. Friday, my natural glorilla. Feel bossed up when I wake up. No heartbreak, just to make up. I'm in my duffel, time to get this cake up. Like a type of foundation can't make up. Tags get popped, they supposed to. Big bags when I shop, I could coach you. Moving silence, a boss, not boastful. Watch them raise up a glass when they toast you. Can you help me? I'm too drip right now to take a selfie. Catch the whole fit, my aura healthy. I'm not trying to get rich, let's be wealthy. Let's be wealthy. Back it up, back it up. Slide through, they start acting up. Walk, stop, pose, vogue. Eat your heart out, snack it up. Get your money, stack it up. Stack it up. Slow motion versus no motion. You still not moving fast enough. Certified fashion killer. Fashion killer. It's 7 p.m. Friday, my natural glorilla. Feel bossed up when I wake up. No heartbreak, just to make up. I'm in my duffel, time to get this cake up. Like a type of foundation can't make up. Like a type of foundation can't make up. Like a type of foundation can't make up. Fashion killer. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. Like a type of foundation can't make up.
Oh,
Hey, listen, we gotta clap it up for that. Super excited, and if we could say who a fashion killer was this weekend, it was all of the designers, special guests, runways. You're going to see more of the recap over the next couple of weeks, because some of our own tribe family not only hit the stage, but did it as runway royalty. Listen, that's a tongue twister if you say it too fast, but Ted, I'm turning it back over to you.
well, yes, Miss Runway Royalty. How are you doing this evening, Karen Sims Harrell, Miss Networking Excellent appointee? How
Hey,
you
twin.
doing?
Hey, twin. How are
Hey,
you?
girl.
I'm doing amazing. Amazing. As you can see, we still doing it. We connecting people together, and it's what we love to do. So, getting an award for what we do, right, already is just, it's over the top. It's over the top.
Yeah, you got to do a lot to make either one of us be at loss for words.
And you do.
Yeah, that was Elijah, thank you so much
Yes.
for all that you're doing as we continue to build community here in the Lehigh Valley, especially in the area of fashion and fashion exposure. I know I saw a lot of garments that were displayed, and that gave me some fashion inspiration on how to go in and play in my own closet, similar to Mimi's closet. I got Kita's closet with some pieces that I could work with to make sure I slide through and start acting up, as Elijah said, with the way I choose to style my body. Y'all listen. I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to stutter some more because I'm getting excited even what I'm getting ready to share. I got to reconnect with one of my old teachers, y'all. The legendary Gwen DeVoe. Yes. I had a moment backstage when I had to check myself because first of all, I had to remember I've been in the game for a long time, and many may not know I did start out years ago in areas of entertainment as a professional plus model. And in those days, I went on over to the Barbizon and did some model training, and then did some acting training and classes. And then I saw this flyer, and it was the absolute last day to contact Gwen DeVoe and her team to come and audition for a full figured fashion week event that was happening in New York City. So I took a risk, okay, because I believed in, what somebody told me I would be a good plus model because I was cute or whatever. So I called this number, and Gwen just told me to show up at rehearsal. I didn't know that I was being auditioned from the time I pick up the phone, but I promise you, when I walked in that room and when the rehearsal started, there was no conversation. She put my butt on the runway and she told me to walk. And I had all these little eyes on me that I didn't know, little chocolate girl in the village of New York City, for the first time, pretty much by herself, chasing a dream. And in that moment, I was cast in my first fashion show by the legendary Gwen DeVoe. And I did go on to attend her Plus Academy, where she had specific model training for us curvy girls, us girls who wear size 12 and up. She made sure that we knew how to snatch ourselves together when we went on different go-sees, as you would call them in the modeling industries. We'd have different go-sees. She taught us the importance of keeping a model makeup kit on us at all times. And most importantly, she taught us the importance of wearing the proper foundations underneath our clothing. I had a conversation with a coworker last week, and I shared that I had on a slip that day because it's sundress season. Weather is breaking. I had on a slip because the garment laid better, because, my hind parts wasn't eating up the dress, if that makes any sense. A lot of those tips and those tricks are still relevant to this day, because some of us choose to style ourselves outside of the realm of bodycon because we're a little too wavy and we don't have people getting seasick all the time when we walk through. So having on the proper foundation really does help a garment lay well. So kudos to you, Elijah, for putting on an amazing event. Baby, it was the event of the season. Yeah, I'm putting it out there just like that. Many of us ascended the mountain of fashion on this weekend alongside you, brother, nephew. And I am looking forward to your future endeavors. Shout out to your amazing team. Our sister, Cerie Melody Jackson, our model coach, our model lead, Tiana Coachman. Girl, you be doing it. You already know that's my sister in Frotivity. Love you, girl, and everything I saw you do. To the entire community, well done. Kudos to you. And again, I got to celebrate one of our very own, because we tend to always we tend to be our own super fan shout out over here around these parts. So shout out to Runway Royalty. She received her crown in that beautiful orange dress that was designed by Genesee Couture. Shout out to you, Rhonda. I appreciated the t-shirt you wore on Sunday, Miss Rhonda Thomas Booth. Yes, that's right. I'm calling your full name because it's so impactful, so powerful. You had on the t-shirt Sunday, and it was you all day, every day. Not an ounce of arrogance or ego in it. You are the queen of everything. And if anybody knows you, who knows you, we can absolutely co-sign that. I know your story and I celebrate you and your win. You looked absolutely lovely. You also got another chance to repurpose something. The look from Innistar, as you shut it down at the sneaker ball, there on the runway. Just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I know y'all like, why y'all talking about fashion? Why y'all talking about fashion? Because that's part of who we are here at the platform. Did y'all realize everybody on the platform is some models? Okay, we do a whole lot of stuff. But Karen, you brought up an interesting topic of conversation for tonight's What's Really Going On?
Ow.
What's really going on? What's really going on?
What's really going on?
Really going on?
On and on and on and on and on. Well, before I get into it, I want to thank Michelle for her time with us. I know she's got to exit now, and so we just want to take one more time to say thank you so much, Michelle, for your time. Thank you for just giving such a gracious and wonderful offering of just snippets of your life. We know that there's more going on, and we hope to see you online, in person, in some type of way, sharing our philanthropic influence in areas to support the wonderful work that you're doing. So thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thank you guys. Like I said before, I really appreciated the time and being on here and being able to talk to you guys. It was really a pleasure, and I do look forward to coming back on my book. And
awesome.
Thanks for the offer.
They said we don't forget. That's all I got to say on that. We do not forget. Thank you so much, Michelle. We appreciate
thanks,
you.
guys. Have a good night.
Bye. Thanks. All right, now I got distracted.
You had got to we was getting ready to talk
we
about
was being good hosts. Yes, we talking about fashion. What we talking about? I blame the husband. If y'all didn't see, I'm in here trying to be you. It wasn't unprofessional, but I'm trying to be extra professional. And here come a hand through the door behind me. I'm like, sir. Like, you doesn't cut in time. What is he doing here? So
girl, my phone has rang at least 3 times since we sit here. And I'm just sending text messages like, yo, I'm broadcasting live, yo. Y'all listen, I love y'all and everything, but y'all don't even want to try to holler at me when I'm laying up doing nothing.
When I have time, because I have time, right?
I be having all the time.
I could make time, and I thank God for him, because he's like, oh, I got a guest that want to be on the show, and I'm like,
talk to me after 8:30.
I love him, though. I love him.
We love you, though, and we appreciate every contribution you make to the platform, Mr. Harold. We appreciate you, brother.
Love him. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this right now.
Listen. We talking fashion. We talking fashion.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The Met Gala, baby, before we get into that, I had my own personal Met Gala experience this weekend at Napa.
Yes, you did. Yes. Yes,
Can I talk about myself for a minute?
Do that.
Listen. It was one Tuesday night while we were broadcasting live on the platform when Elijah Dequan's name flashed up across my phone, and I reminded him ever so wonderfully that we were, of course, broadcasting live at the moment. So he said, say less, and he asked me the question of, would I walk for Lord Proverbs? Child, listen, I almost did a full-on Dante here on the show and passed out, but I realized I had a job to complete with broadcasting the show. This weekend, I got to wear art, Karen. I got to wear art that was made by the incomparable artist. I can't even call him a fashion designer because he is so much more than just that. And I say that, check it out. I put on this piece he had chosen for me. And immediately Gwen DeVoe pulled up and asked, yo, how much is that? I want to buy it. And I got to delightfully stand there and say to her, they're not for sale. And then he co-signs and says, no, it's not for sale. And then I just looked at her and said, hey, this is actually a work of art. And it's probably going to be hanging in some museum once we're done with it on today. It was an absolute pleasure to wear that piece that had the iconic Wonder Woman on the back. And if you've ever done any work with Lord Proverb, you know that anything that he puts on your body, there is a feeling he's getting from you. There is an energy he's gleaning as he styles you. As he presented me the coat, of course, he asked me the basic questions. What shoes do you have? And I just ran down the colors that I brought with me, and he told me to wear that pop of color. And baby, I promise you, I put on that coat and felt absolutely powerful, just as powerful as the icon that was represented on the garment. And Karen, I love the way you described it. You said I created a tornado. I really wish I could have seen that full on flip, because I had to work that flip out. You understand? Because there's different mechanics to that garment. I just wanted to make sure I did it justice. But that was a life-changing experience for me. Even in those few moments I was on the runway wearing art, I became living art, Karen. Who knew?
That's a fact. I was there. I watched it.
Summarily to what happened at the Met Gala. Did you watch the Met Gala, Karen? Because I got to be honest with you, I didn't really watch it.
I didn't watch it. I just have seen so many of the looks that, I mean, are floor dropping. So much so that I had to come in and put my personal design from Lawson Accessories. And I was walking around, it's taking me some time to get my October debut designer outfit. But I had strapped that thing around my waist, and my husband was like, why are you walking around with this train in the house? Because I'm feeling fancy and I don't need to go outside to do it. So I was so inspired by all of the looks that I saw, by all of the wonderful they just brought it. Can I just say, like, personality and clothes, when they come together with amazing creativity. If you haven't seen it, go ahead on and listen. Just type it in and click on images and watch all of the wonder that will bestow your eyes. That's all I can say for that. So I'm going to catch up, though, because it's that intriguing for me for what I saw for just the wonderful looks that folks came in, like Diana Ross and Tiana Taylor, Usher, and oh my goodness, who else? I think it's like Billy Porter. It's so many names.
Listen, girl, listen. What was the theme this year? Was super fine, tailoring Black style, right? I heard it said that it was a tribute to the Dapper Dan type look.
Listen.
Which is why we saw so many styles in suit form, so to speak. Yeah. Oh my goodness, Kerry Washington did that thing. She brought the white hat back. Shout out to Scandal.
Come on.
I might have to get back into that on Netflix, just because girlfriend showed up at the Met Gala and did the daggone thing with that white hat.
Man,
the gladiators and white hats.
Love it.
On the runway. Go ahead, Kerry Washington. You did that. And you already know we got another one that had the awesome privilege to walk the runway at the People's Ball, girl. You know Shelby was all up on that stage.
I do know.
Putting her stuff at the People's Ball. And honey, in true Shelby style, very unique, very, very, very classy, very colorful, very stylish, with the black slide on heels, just giving sexy, leaving everything to the imagination, inspiration, style. She wasn't there alone, of course. Her usual NYC running partner, our other tribe sister, Miss Tracy Garvin Springer, was out there as well. I can't even hear you though, Karen. You on mute.
Looking fabulous. Listen, I'm here just gushing all over it, and I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if there was any particular garment that you saw there so far, because I know this is subject to change with you, Karen.
It will.
What was your favorite?
A favorite? I don't know if I got that far yet.
And that's honest. That's honest. You know, I got to challenge you live on air.
Of course, but then anyway, nah,
Huh?
nothing. You know what? I'm gonna say I love Diana Ross's look just because she's the boss and she still looks so good. But it was something I'm mesmerized a bit by Tiana Taylor's outfit. I just love creativity with dressing, and I love it when it's something that okay. I'm not always into the craziest, flamboyant. Some of the stuff, yes, but I love it when it's like, you did that. And that was just the whole feel that I got from her. And I love it because they were like, folks just want to take a picture of the cane as if the cane was its own outfit or its own persona. So many different looks. I got to go through them all. I may be able to have a favorite by next week. Not right now. I can't. I'm in awe because who else was it? So many folks still were coming out with different looks that it was like some of them it was like, oh, that's nice, but showstoppers. Those were two at the top of my showstoppers. When I saw the white hat, you already know Carrie is the one. Jalen Hurts, I gotta shout out my Philadelphia Eagles or the day won't end. So I love anything with a pop of color, but some of these folks coming in the all white and the all black was just, man, listen. Don't ask us to show up and think we won't. That was the theme. Okay. Sorry. I don't know what else they called it, but that was what I got in my head. Don't you dare ask us to show up and think we not gonna. Super fine, tailoring black style. Who did not understand the assignment? Because Hunty, I want to know what was the conference call that said we're gonna bring it to the people like no one has ever bought it before. That's all I got to say. Okay.
Listen. I'm a fan of the tailored suit look on the men that showed up.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
understand that it is a wonderful opportunity to be outside of the box and fashion forward. But baby, ow. Listen, ain't nothing in the world sharper than a well-dressed man in a suit that is tailored specifically for them. And was it Jalen that had the simple, well-tailored suit that was actually designed by someone in the Lehigh Valley, from what I understand? Had a little sparkle band for the little pop of the plaid out. Listen.
He did. Yes, he did.
Listen, that's the look, okay, that I be checking for when I go into certain rooms. That's the expectation. I really, really enjoy the fact that they paid homage to the origins of style within our communities, because we have so many different conversations, Karen, about how the younger generations are going out here in these worldly streets these days. And I think it's also appropriate that we land here again, especially during prom season. It's prom season in so many different communities. And I think we had a guest last week say that they were not looking forward to prom season because of the ratchety ratchet.
Yep.
That is taking the place of fashion.
Yeah.
From so many different perspectives. Fashion, like art, is subjective. So notice the way I just said that, because I don't want anybody to feel like we're dismissing how you choose to drape your body when you face the world day to day. But there are certain instances where you need to be mindful of how you show up. Michelle touched on it. You got these people coming through here, these young ladies. Hey, you got a job, but they don't know how to dress. I even, gave a nod to our sister Tracy Garvin Springer, who ran Allentown Dress for Success for years, and teaching intentionality to women and men alike on how to show up for success. So, how do we show up for success on our own playing fields, within our own areas of influence? Are we showing up for success dressed like what we think will be more acceptable by the group of peers that we're entertaining for the moment? Or are we dressing for our future? I got questions, Karen. Can you help me engage this thought?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know the answer. Now, you getting deep on me today. But what should we be doing, right? What should we be sharing with those folks who are in our circles so that they could be influenced? I'm just old school in that situation of we used to always hear dress for the job you want to get, right? Dress for the job that you want to get, dress for the opportunity that you're looking for. So that took that visionary to say, I'm not just dressing to throw anything on, but I also came from a background, and I remember, being a young mother and my aunties and older cousins coming around saying, nah, you ain't going outside like that, right? No, you not only are representing you representing us, you representing your family, and what does that look like, and what are the things for it? So I wish why everybody gotta be naked though? Like, I've seen some of the classiest elegance, and they fully dressed, right? Fully clothed, fully, and I'm not even saying covered up, because if you got nice legs, you better show them things. Listen, because when you get 50, you gonna be wishing that you did. So I don't got any problem with that. But there's a sensibility in the in how we present ourselves in we got internets now. When we were growing up, right, we might have had a Polaroid. Now they recording everything, and this stuff does not go away. We heard Michelle talk about some things where it's like, when you looking at the Google, you like, all right, go on to the next person. So why does my name have to get to the top of it? And it's a privilege to be known and for people to see you and know you, but there's also a responsibility that goes along with that sometimes we may not be fully ready for all of the consequences. So y'all have a good time, but just know, like, just for the tomorrow that you want. So visionary is my answer to that.
Yeah, be visionary. And in your visionary, as you prepare for wherever it is you headed to, read the room before you get there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, to me it does, but
read the room. That's the language that most are familiar with now. It makes me sound a little less seasoned. Yeah, read the room before you get there. And if you're not sure, ask questions. Because I know my whole deal is, y'all know it's a why and tilted halo, because I'm going to ask you a question for clarity. And the only, if you don't ask a question, you don't know. And we already had a couple of lessons on what happens when we assume a thing, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So look, I'm going to take me a little sip of water because I got to do this next intro.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next intro. Here we go.
Yes, Deb. Y'all already know. Yeah, I got a little sip of drink with me tonight. It's just some high quality H2O, that good spring water, to sip on while we receive this week's reflections of purpose. Y'all know I'm greedy, and I'll be swallowing them nuggets as she's sharing them, so they get up in my spirit, so we can see how we can make all of the wonderful encouragement that Coach Cash shares with us on a weekly basis. How can I apply that to my life so I can become better? So you all get ready for another on time, ready reflection of purpose from our very own in-house master life coach, Coach Cash herself, Twisted Threads LLC. Take it away. Reflection.
Now, listen, you know that this is a time for us, and I normally come with a Title, Turn It Upside Down. That's what it is. Turn It Upside Down is the title. Make sure that you are taking a moment. Last week we talked about making space for being able to accept compliments, being able to allow people to pour into you. And then I walk smack dab into that exact experience. You know, when we think about this conversation that we're having about being able to dress for the future that we want, turn it upside down. When we think about sometimes the negativity in the world, turn it upside down. We've got a reason to have joy. We've got a reason to have happiness. But if we allow the negativity that's in the world to overtake our very thought, you know what? We will find ourselves sick, lonely, and afraid. We want to make sure that we are all thinking about the better areas. And I'm not saying be delusional. Yes, you see the things that are going out and around, and reality sometimes gets hard. But just like we had the opportunity, get you some friends, get you some people, even if they're not yet friends, right? They could start out as associates, and then you're able to build the friendship. But make the time to make sure that you are flipping your cup over to get it filled. That's also a way to turn it upside down. Many of us are so busy pouring that we find our cup all the way empty and turned around. I need you to flip that thing right on back and let life fill you so that you are prepared for the future that not only are you dreaming for, but you walking into right now, bro. You walking right into, sis, and you're thinking, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overstimulated. I don't think I have what it takes. But I want you to take that moment to cut down that imposter syndrome and know this, that if God called you to it, he's going to bring you through it. He didn't ask you, did you have the degree when he said, I'm going to send you there for. He didn't ask you, did you have the funding and the money? And he sure didn't ask today's administration to co-sign what he's saying for you. So hold your head up high. Make sure you allow positivity to clothe you with a newfound glow and move forward. Michelle said that earlier, and I promise you it was like, ooh, take a note. All right. We just, bless some people and keep it moving. That's what it is. Impact some lives and keep it moving was exactly what she said. Make sure you're doing that in your life. And whether the accolades come, right? Whether the awards come, I got a feeling that they will, and you'll be just as surprised as I was on Saturday night when I heard my name called, and I just was like, he must mean another Karen, because I wasn't trying to do this at all. You will find that when you turn your cup upside down and while you're pouring, you remember to get filled so that you are able to complete the journey that is yours, complete the tasks that are yours. Listen, y'all know I say it all the time. I'm here for the cake, but we can't get to the cake until we complete the work. Your work doesn't look like my work. I can come alongside you and hold your hand for a little bit, but some portion of your work is going to cause you and require for you to step into your next right now. So for those of you who know that this is your call, turn that cup upside down, get yourself filled, move towards the finish line so we can get there for the cake. That's what it is. Thank you. Turning it back over to you, Tilty.
It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate you, Karen, as always, for the way you pour. It ain't easy to pour into a Virgo like me, but I'm so glad that you continue to do it as we continue to journey through this life together, not only as best friends, but in business as well. Yes. So it's been another barn burner of a show. I feel empowered to go a little bit further.
Yeah.
After talking to Miss Michelle on this evening.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And kind of leads me into my little segment on tonight as we prepare to close the show. Thank you again to every one of you who tuned in, who are joining us on the replay. We appreciate you, and we hope you receive something from conversation tonight that encourages you to keep on keeping on, to keep sowing, growing, and glowing. So check it out. We got to get into this Just Be, Karen. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Now, tonight, I got to encourage y'all to just be mindful of what station you keep yourself parked on. That's right. I got to talk to you about your station. So, check it out. Years ago, I wrote my first poem, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It's called God's Big TV because I had the thought that God is always watching me, no matter what I'm doing. So, a television channel can also be referred to as a station. What's on your station, your favorite station? What are you imparting through your eye gates week after week? What is it that you are so focused on that you are losing the ability to get up, move on, move forward, and be the change that's required in your own life? I'm asking you tonight to be mindful of the station you stay stuck on. One of my favorite stations to watch when I have downtime is the Paternity Court channel on Amazon Prime. Now, it might seem a little juvenile and trivial to some, but I learn a whole lot about people as I listen to those conversations. And because I listen to the court shows, the Paternity Court in particular, and shout out to my second runner-up, Judy Justice. Just Judy is still my girl to this day. But why am I stuck on these stations? Because they help me grow. They help me develop and applying certain people skills that I could never gain in the classroom from the stories that are shared on the shows. So be mindful of the station that you stay stuck on, because those things become what you apply in life. So if you're stuck watching a whole lot of ratchet reality TV, what do you expect your life to start to manifest? If you are always watching crime CSI, who did it and what for, why, and who finna die, listen, you're going to end up living a life where you are always suspect of others, and you're not going to be able to trust the person who's come to be the raven in the desert that God has sent for you in that very moment in time. I'm asking you tonight to be mindful of the station you stay stuck on, because we sang it in Sunday school month after month, year after year. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see, because it becomes a part of you. So how about you turn on a little bit of Marty Marr? Don't stay there too long, because we only need but so much laughter over the course of a workday, because some of us don't know how to shut that off when we go into the workplace. Are you watching a little bit of mindfulness television? There's so many empowering preachers and teachers and coaches available at your fingertips or at the tip of your remote that can help rebuild you in places where you might think your life is a little bit desolate. Be mindful of your station. And baby, if you haven't heard what I just said in this last part of the dialogue, you have the ability to change the channel. So be the change you want to see, and be mindful what station you get stuck on, and just be. All right. It's your girl. Oh, you like that one, Miss Karen?
That was very good. That was
trying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'll be trying.
That was fire.
That station came to me the other day, and I was like, well, why you got me on the station? And God took me through that whole thing. So I figured I would just share it with the masses.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Can I say thank you for feeding me?
Did I feed you, sis?
You did. You did.
I fed the master tonight. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. You never know what you're going to get here at Unhinged Live. It's a joy tsunami, and we've got something for everybody to feed you, to elevate you, to uplift you, both mind, body, and spirit. We are Unhinged Live, and we're determined as a collective to live the fullness of everything that God has intended for us in this life. And we're just going to keep on living, glowing, and growing together. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. So look, I'm going to let you get on off of here, and I'm going to say goodnight to the audience, because I think your man desires your husband is desiring your attention. And you already know I'm a fan of the marriage. I'm a fan of the marriage, and I have no problem taking my little self up out the way. So you can change your station right now. See, station can also be known as a place. But
Yes.
that's the whole. I didn't want to take the show into the next half hour. Okay.
Mhm.
All of the things. Guess what, y'all? We're gonna be back next week with another wonderful conversation. I'm excited about this one here.
Yeah. Don't
And
miss it.
Y'all better not miss next week because y'all see this little. I ain't combed my hair today. That's the secret sauce. It's Unhinged Live. It's Tilted Halo. We love y'all. And I guess it's over. We
It's
out.
a wrap.